Hey guys, how are you all? Today we're going to go over some drifting techniques. So a couple of you guys have asked for a video explaining how to drift. So I'm going to do my best to explain it. So I do use a controller. It is a bit harder on this game with the without one. I would say don't use the buttons, use the tilt for steering. That means you have a lot more fingers to use the handbrake and left foot brake, and also change gears if you play with gears. So having a controller, I'm able to, use gears and do left foot braking, and I have a clutch too, which is very handy. So one of the biggest things with drifting is just being smooth. You don't want to try and change directions too quickly. As I just spun out there, but when you're driving and changing directions, you want to just get off the gas and not be too mashy with the gas. There's times like here on the uphill we can just plant it, but there over that crest you saw it was just tapping the throttle. Because the car is light over that crest, if you hold down the accelerator you're gonna just spin out because there's no grip on the rear end. Here you can just plant it, you know what I mean, and off the gas, a couple of handbrake taps, back on. In the tighter sections, if you get understeer like here, you can left foot brake, and that will help you stay in one spot. Here, you want to left foot brake so you don't slide backwards and go off track. Terrible example because I spun out, but you get the idea. Smoothness is your friend though, and also a car that's not too overpowered. I will show you the tune after this that I have on this car. It's about 500 horsepower and then just under 400 newton meters of torque, and it doesn't seem like it has crazy power, but we can still go onto one of the bigger tracks and it will still slide and hold gear. That's where the torque comes in. So rather than crazy 1,000 horsepower cars, they're extremely hard to drive. They loop out real easy unless you have them gripped up and have the right tune. So having a little less horsepower and a nice grippy tune will help you not slide out as much, and then also being smooth. So I'd say go to school course or a nice... What the hell type of driving was that? Just crashing into that cave-in. Go to a track though like Driftland at Ibiza or something that is just pretty much a big skid pan, and just practice doing figure eights. That will help. But here I'll show you how this tune, even with lower horsepower, it'll still hold fourth and make fifth gear spin. You just have to drive it differently. But when I transition, I'm not going from one direct left to, let's say, right with the joystick. You want to be smooth with it. Here, that's where the left foot braking will come into play if I could stay on track. Because if I just gassed it, it would have spun out. And, if I just handbraked, it potentially would have made us understeer more. So there's a few different techniques, but you can drive without left foot brake and without handbrake. It's all about just throttle control and how smooth you turn that wheel, or in this case the joystick. And we only got 14% tire wear, so it doesn't grip up as much as it should. I'll show you and see if we can get from here a fifth gear entry. See here, because we're going over the hill, the wheels get light. And I was too aggressive on turning back just there, and I spun out. So, this is the kind of best I can explain. It's hard for me to do so, but you want to be smooth. But we'll jump across to the garage. Alrighty. So I have this little marker here. So we'll go into the tune. So right now the car looks a bit different. It's lower on smaller wheels, so the suspension is a bit lower, but normally how the car looked before, this was just further up to make room for the bigger wheels. with our dampers, this is something I try and keep low. Um, it's I kind of can't explain it, but you want the dampers low, um, so it absorbs but doesn't rebound. When it rebounds, that's what gives you bump, and the car won't sit down. So you can't get grip out of your suspension, which is a very important thing, I believe, when it comes to drifting, even in this game. Um, I'll go back to dampers for you so you guys can screenshot or record this if you want, and copy the tune. I believe it will help you guys drift because it is fairly smooth with its transitions. Well, I find anyway. The wheel offset and stuff isn't crazy big and important. The caster, this is a big one. Sometimes you want a little bit more caster than this, sometimes a little bit less, but this will adjust or make the back and forth how quickly the car transitions. This will either speed it up or slow it down. Steering angle, it's best to have as much as you can. This top one here that is toe out, this is actually your camber. So it took me a while to figure out what the hell it was, but it is your camber. So you can angle in or out. Camber, you don't want too much. I'd say like around 3.74, maybe even 5-ish, depending on the setup. It's not too bad. The offsets don't matter. Front stabilizer, this is something you want like around the higher end, like around your 8s to 10s. The lower you have it, the more sloppy the car will feel, but it won't have control when you actually transition. Your toe you want set at 0. This cross-axis tilt, this is what will help you with your self-steering and how smooth the car will come back. So if we turn the wheel here, if I can grab it, you see if I move it left to right, if I go down, the car sits low. So when we turn the wheel, see how the car doesn't lift up or down at all, kind of just sits there. But if we go higher up with this access wheel tilt, when the car transitions, it slightly lifts up and down. So I found around 10 for this setup is pretty good, but that's what helps you with self-steer. The car will kind of lift and get light and sit again in position. The wheel offset access, I found 0 helps on this. I can't really explain what that does. Rear, I have a bit of toe out to help with forward grip when you're sideways. This helps not spin out as much as well. And then also the stabilizer. This is just the camber, but this one down here, there is a tiny bit of toe out, so 0.42. But your stabilizer, you want lower than the front. Sometimes you can go lower than this, but having it high makes transitioning super hard. Too low, it won't have any grip when you get back on the gas. Too high, it just doesn't want to really turn. Wheels, this is all kind of to preference. I find lower pressures is a lot better though than higher pressures. I don't like that 90-88 feeling from like CarX online. So I like having grip and a more realistic feeling, and having these pressures helps with that. Engine, this is where you want more torque than having horsepower, or just a very close torque thing. Like I could put way more boost in if I changed the turbo, but I actually put a smaller turbo, so when it was at max boost it wasn't too high. So you see the torque line at around 6,000-7,000 RPM, and even lower. The torque is always higher than the horsepower, which means that even at low RPM, if I'm in a tight corner in third gear, it will always be able to spool up and spin the wheels. It means you don't have to change gears as often, so that helps a lot. And just not over horsepowering your car will help you not spin out, because running 800, 1,000 horsepower, like you can do it, but it is way harder to control. All the gears are just a standard 6-speed, and then I have 60 for the differential locking. You can go up to maybe 80, but this will mean when you get on the gas it gets out quicker, so that's something you can kind of play around with. Braking, this is all kind of standard just from the upgraded brakes I put on there, which are the yellow ones. And electrics, that's just traction control, which we don't want at all. that's kind of like the best way I can explain it, and the best I kind of do, I believe. If you have any other questions like on a certain part of this, let me know. I'll hopefully go into it more in depth when I post this other video I've been working on about rebuilding the purple car into this chassis, and I have done a few changes to the tune, a little bit different power setup, so hopefully it's a bit more all-round, but that will be in the next video, so stay tuned for that one, guys. Hopefully this helped you, and yeah, until next time, peace out.
Come get this, you wanna get this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like your, like this, like this, like